right, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. I've got a couple of interesting stories for you guys today. The first story that I've got for you guys today, 2 new names added to the Chicago Pro lineup. And I think this actually could change things significantly. So now you've got the addition of Stanimal, who just brought an incredible package to the stage in Vancouver against Hassan Mustafa, where he took second place, but he had pretty crazy, standout, noticeable conditioning. So Stanimal joins this lineup, but not just Stanimal, but also John De La Rosa is making his comeback after his injury to this show here in Chicago. Now, the last show that John De La Rosa won was the 2019 Puerto Rico Pro. He was also 12th at the 2019 Mr. Olympia, so we haven't seen him in quite a while. But he is arguably one of the best bodybuilders in this lineup. He's no stranger to the big shows like the Arnold Classic. The New York Pro specifically is a show that he's done many times and placed within the top 4, the top 3, the top 2, all at the New York Pro, although he never won it. He is returning to this Chicago Pro, and I say returning because this is a show that he won back in 2015. Now, this is the latest update that we have from John De La Rosa. This is dated July 11th. He's working with Patrick Tour, who's had some success recently working with Keon Pearson. He worked with Ian Valliere. And while this update is pretty brief and you can't really see his biceps that well, I don't think his physique looks very different from how he usually looks. So he looks like he's pretty close to being back to what we could typically expect to see from John De La Rosa. So this should now be a really interesting show because, like I said, we had Blessing and Patrick, who Patrick was just last place at the Arnold Classic, and Blessing was just last place at the Olympia, tied for last. But Blessing and Patrick on paper are the 2 best bodybuilders in that lineup prior to the announcement of John De La Rosa and Stanimal, because of the fact that they are both show-winning bodybuilders. They've both been Olympians, and Patrick has been a top 10 Olympian. But now you've got John De La Rosa in this mix, which this could be a really interesting comeback opportunity for him. You've got Justin Shire, who's kind of the wild card here, making his pro debut. But then you've also got to consider Stanimal in this lineup. Stanimal has arguably brought the best version of himself at the past 2 shows that he's competed in, particularly that Vancouver Pro. Look at this back double bicep comparison between him and Hassan in Vancouver. Stan might not be the biggest, freakiest guy in men's open, and he might get out-muscled here, who knows? But at the end of the day, he brought consistently crazy conditioning the last 2 times that we saw him on stage. This back double bicep that you're looking at right here is a perfect example of what kind of crazy shape he brings, and conditioning that good is dangerous in a lineup like this, where we've got guys that are really good bodybuilders. Blessing, Patrick, great bodybuilders, but these are also guys that have been inconsistent with their conditioning. This is the type of show where you could have somebody like Stanimal come in here and do some serious damage, and I could see Stanimal being a top 3, a serious top 3 contender here, and he could really shock people and win the show. If he brings conditioning like he brought in Vancouver, and these guys are out of shape, Stan could win this thing. Hassan was significantly more muscular than Stan, but Stan was still pushing him with that conditioning. And I think had Hassan done this show, he would be the favorite to win here as well. So if you just saw him and Stan battle, you could make an argument here for Stan being one of the favorites to win this show. So now things just got interesting, and this is what I like to see, is when a lineup comes out and it's lackluster, it's a short list of guys, more guys jumping in at the last minute saying, hey, I want to do this too. I think I've got a shot here. Why not just jump in? And maybe we still see more guys added to this list. I think that's still a possibility. Chicago is a very central location for a bodybuilding competition in the United States. Most of these guys don't have to leave the country. They don't have to travel very far. You don't have to travel from one coast to the other. Chicago's kind of right in the middle, Midwest area. So I like to see this. I like to see guys like John and Stanimal jumping in this lineup at the last minute. And I think now we've got ourselves an actually really interesting show. I think we're definitely talking about a more competitive lineup than we saw last weekend in Vancouver. And I think you can make an argument this is also a better lineup than the Orlando show. So this could be one of the more competitive shows that we've seen this season. But let me know what you guys think based on this updated competitor list. What are your updated predictions for the Chicago Pro this year? I really should say this weekend. All right, so next up in the news, let's talk about Hunter Labrada and his latest physique update. 16 days out, so a little over 2 weeks from taking the stage at the Tampa Pro. Now, Hunter is doing both Tampa and Texas. Tampa is in about 2 weeks, and Texas is in about a month. So a little over 2 weeks from Tampa, a little over a month from Texas. Honestly, for 2 weeks out, I think Hunter looks incredible here. He looks dry. He looks hard. He looks in shape, vascular, full. He's got a Christmas tree in this video already. And keep in mind, Hunter is a guy that was top 4 at the Olympia just over a year ago in 2021. Now, yes, this year he has to requalify. He has to win a show to get back to the Olympia. But keep in mind, Hunter's doing 2 shows. And I think the reason that Hunter's doing that is to make a statement. I don't think Hunter needs the money. I don't think Hunter thinks, oh, I'm not going to qualify in Tampa, so Texas is my backup show to get to the Olympia. To be completely honest, we don't know the lineup for Tampa yet, but based on the guys that are already qualified for the Olympia and that we know won't be competing until the Olympia, I really don't see anybody on Hunter's level that would do that show that would probably beat him. I think Tampa is probably going to be in the bag for Hunter. So I don't think Hunter's looking at it like, okay, I might not win Tampa, so I'm going to do Texas as a backup. I don't think that's his mindset. I think because he dropped so many placings between 2021 and the 2022 Olympia, I think he's really trying to make a statement to the fans, to the other competitors, to the judges that this year he's back and he's not messing around, because these updates that we're seeing from Hunter, honestly, are very impressive. If Hunter doesn't look phenomenal at this Tampa Pro in 2 weeks, I would be shocked based on what we've seen from him so far. He seems very consistent, very dialed in. And look, I think he's got a really big chip on his shoulder from last year. He dropped quite a few placings. He went from 4th in 2021 to 7th last year. So he went from being in the conversation for almost top 3 or top 2 to being in the conversation for second call out outside of the first call out, maybe towards the end of the top 10, the bottom half of the top 10. It's a pretty big move down. So I feel like the reason he's doing 2 shows is because he knows he's made improvements. He knows he's got to really make a statement, and he wants to win 2 shows back to back and let people know he's back, he's ready, and he's not going to be easily beaten at the Olympia. So while I feel like Tampa might be an easier show for Hunter to win, I'm not going to say easy because no show is easy to win. Anything can happen. Hunter's also doing Texas. And Andrew Jacked is also doing Texas. And that brings me to the next story, the latest physique update from Andrew Jacked. So keep in mind, Hunter Labrada is competing in 2 weeks. Andrew Jacked is still 4 weeks out. And I want to make sure that we point that out because I do think that Hunter was noticeably sharper, noticeably more conditioned, noticeably drier than Andrew Jacked, but Hunter is stepping on stage 2 weeks sooner than Andrew. So this Texas Pro, I think, is going to be a very, very interesting battle here because we have not seen a rematch between Andrew Jacked and Hunter Labrada since the Olympia. Andrew did the Arnold where I think he looked better than he looked at the Olympia. And keep in mind, Andrew was 8th at the Olympia, just behind Hunter Labrada. And honestly, I think it was close at the Olympia between Andrew and Hunter for 7th and 8th. I recall several people after the Olympia saying they thought that Andrew Jacked should have placed higher, actually. So this, I think, will be the proving ground in Texas to really know what direction this might go at the Olympia, because if Hunter comes in, slams the door shut in Tampa, and if he comes into Texas and is somehow able to do it again and slam the door shut in Andrew's face, and win 2 shows back-to-back, beating a guy that was close to him at the Olympia and looked phenomenal, by the way, at the Arnold Classic, that would be really big for Hunter, and I think that would be the momentum that Hunter wants going into the Olympia. But if Andrew beats Hunter in Texas, that might flip the momentum a little bit. Even if Hunter dominates in Tampa, the fact that Andrew was behind Hunter at the Olympia last year, if he beats him in Texas, a show that Andrew's already won, then that might be an even bigger momentum shift in Andrew Jack's favor. There's a very popular saying in bodybuilding, and I think it's true to an extent, that you're only as good as your last show. So even though Hunter might have beaten Andrew at the Olympia, if Andrew beats him in Texas, that's what's going to be on people's minds going into the Olympia. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Who do you guys think is going to win in Texas? Andrew Jacked or Hunter Labrada? Now, the final story that I've got for you guys today, some recent physique updates from none other than Horse MD Marcelo DeAngelis. He was a big talking point last year as a classic physique competitor. Really popular guy, really nice physique. But he really struggled with making weight for Classic, and he decided that he will be, in fact, pursuing open bodybuilding. Now, he posted these recent physique updates saying he's preparing with Milo Sarshev, and by the way, Rafael Brandao is also in these pictures taking the photo, preparing for his pro debut as an open IFBB pro bodybuilder. Now, I'll be honest with you guys, from the front and the sides, he looks pretty good. I think he's got a lot of work to do still on the back. He posted a posing video a few months ago where he's hitting like a back double bicep, a real lat spread, and his back really didn't look dense enough or thick enough to be competitive as an open bodybuilder, let alone classic physique. So while I think he's got phenomenal aesthetics, he's got a great shape to his physique, really good flow, really good lines. When he comes in condition, he looks pretty crazy, really solid from the front. I'm hesitant to say he's going to immediately be a massive impact on the IFBB pro scene, just because of what we've seen so far of his back. But I still think he's a guy that's got tremendous potential. He's still a guy that I think we should all be watching for, because like I said, these Brazilian guys really sneak up on you and come out of nowhere with the crazy physiques. So it wouldn't surprise me if in 2 years he ended up being like a Rafael Brandao. Rafael Brandao was just top 10 at the Olympia last year, I should say, 2022. Brazil has been cranking out some freaks, and maybe he's the next one. But anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Click that bell notification icon to be notified every time I upload a video so you don't miss any of the breaking bodybuilding news. And as always, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Nick Strength and Power, signing out. All right, guys, don't forget to click that like button and subscribe to this channel if you enjoy the content. Also, check out my Instagram at Nick Strength Power, my Facebook page, which is simply Nick Strength and Power, my secondary YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Vlogs, for vlogs and bonus content that you will not see on this channel. And consider subscribing to my third YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Pokemon, which is all things Pokemon and trading card games, completely unrelated to this channel. So if you're into that, give that one a look. And all links to merchandise and social media will be in the description box below. If you guys want a Nick Strength and Power t-shirt, that will be in the Shopify link below. Have a great day.